People often think losing weight is about half diet and half exercise, but those combined only make up around 25% of it. Another 25% is good quality sleep, and the remaining 50% is actually doing what you said you would. Fortunately, if you start a diet right now, there's a way, an easy way, to make it almost impossible to fail. Step 1 is to get inspired. There's always a spark that makes you decide you want to change, and it's usually seeing someone else who's much fitter than you or seeing yourself in a picture. Either way, inspiration is strong but typically only lasts for a day, and then it's gone. So what you need next is a realistic goal that you can measure, along with a timeline to achieve it by. For example, I'm going to lose 5 pounds by July 1st, and another 5 pounds by August 1st, is measurable and even has a checkpoint to keep you motivated. The next thing you need is a detailed and realistic plan to get you to your goal. The plan might be to replace your daily breakfast of milk, sugary granola, and a peanut butter jelly sandwich with a 1-mile jog, followed by a bowl of 15 big strawberries and 3 boiled eggs. Believe it or not, this one change is more than enough to lose several pounds of fat in just a few weeks. But having the plan isn't enough. You need to set everything up so that you can easily follow the plan. You have to buy the strawberries, boil the eggs the night before, and get your running clothes ready, so that when you wake up, the easiest thing to do is stick to the plan. If you don't boil the eggs and keep buying peanut butter and grape jelly, putting them at the front of the fridge where it's the first thing you see, then you don't really intend to stick to your diet. You're just looking forward to that one day when you give in and make your high-calorie breakfast again. If you want to make it easy to eat healthy, then make it hard to eat junk food. Of course, that's easy to say, but no matter how much you try to avoid even looking at junk food, you need to expect there will be hard times. Like when you accidentally trip and fall face-first into a booth at IHOP, see that every item is over 1,000 calories, and get tempted to say 5 of the most dangerous words in diet history. You can pick from any of the following options. A. One cheat meal won't hurt. B. I'll actually start dieting tomorrow. Never do this. C. I just won't eat later. D. Maybe I'll just start bulking. And it's times like this when you need willpower, the ability to tell yourself no. You can build up your willpower by anticipating all the excuses you're going to make and practicing saying no to all of them. You can even practice walking away from bad choices. But keep in mind that willpower isn't infinite, so you can't always rely on it. You're better off just avoiding temptation in the first place. Finally, the real cheat code to motivation is doing something for so long that it becomes a habit. If you can get to the point where you wake up and automatically go outside for a jog, and you automatically reach for the strawberries and boiled eggs, then the plan becomes 100 times easier to follow, and it will keep getting easier every day you do it. Eventually, you might even start to like eating healthy and exercising, at which point, like for many other people, it's no longer a lifestyle choice, but instead, your entire personality. And this is the ultimate goal. Anyway, let's move on to the basics of fat loss. There's no real accurate way to track it besides progress pictures and weighing yourself once a week. For the progress pictures, just know that you won't see much change in the first few weeks, and maybe not even in the first few months, because your body first prioritizes losing fat from places that you probably can't see. But once you start seeing visual progress, it becomes more noticeable very quickly. So to really measure your progress, you should step on a scale maybe once every morning. Just know that it can fluctuate a lot based on water weight or the types of foods you eat. This means you might lose a pound of fat, but your weight might not change right away. So instead of looking at your day-to-day progress, just look at your average week-to-week progress. So you've probably heard that to lose fat over time, you have to eat fewer calories than you burn. This means if your body burns 2,000 calories a day, then eating 1,700 calories a day will make you lose fat. That's because the body will use energy from fat and a teeny tiny bit of muscle to help cover the 300-calorie deficit. If you drop your calories even lower, to 1,500 or even 1,200 a day, you'll lose fat more quickly, but at the expense of it being way more difficult to maintain. The traditional, optimal way to figure out how many calories you should be eating is to use an online calorie calculator. Then eat around this number every day as a starting point to lose weight. But it's worth noting that this number can be way off since everyone has a different metabolism. It can be especially off for people with hormonal problems, high cortisol, low estrogen, testosterone, or low thyroid hormones. So the best way to know for sure is to start with this number and then see how your weight changes over the next few weeks. If you find that each week your weight is not changing, then you need to lower your daily calories by another 200 to 300. And if you ever reach a point where you haven't lost any weight for at least a week, you'll either need to reduce your calories again or add in some more exercise. Now for some people, this method works perfectly because, in theory, you can't go wrong with it. The only problem is, you have to count exactly how many calories you eat per day, using nutrition ration labels, calorie counting apps, mental math, and also food scales, which measure exactly how much of each food you're eating in grams. Anyway, you can also get away with just roughly estimating your calories, but this only works if you play it safe and round everything up like crazy. If you think it's 300 calories, it's probably 500. If you think it's 800 calories, it's probably 1000. And if you think it's too small to count, it's probably at least 50. So before we get into the method where you don't have to track anything at all, we need to talk about macronutrients. Whether you track them or not, a lot of people want to know how much protein, carbs, and fat they should eat per day. To be honest, for most weight loss purposes, all you need to look at is calories and protein. You need a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fats, and then you can fill in the rest of your calories with anything. Just make sure not to overeat fats like oil, sauces, salad dressings, butter, nuts, and cheese. Even though these are healthy in moderate amounts, fats have 9 calories per gram, which means one pack of trail mix has about 3 times the calories of a dying neutron star. Also, if you've ever heard weight loss experts say that carbs cause weight gain, they're not talking about fruits, vegetables, fiber, and whole grains. They're talking about refined, highly processed carbs that are usually very delicious and stripped of most, if not all, of their nutrients when they're processed, especially foods with lots of added sugars. The number one trick is to start slowly eating more minimally processed foods, avoiding junk, chips, sugary desserts, stuff with lots of refined carbs, and instead swapping that out for fruits, vegetables, lean dairy, lean protein, healthy fats, and whole grains. You'll find that these foods are so filling and nutritious that you can eat in a calorie deficit every single day without feeling very hungry. If you don't believe me, this is 200 calories of Oreos, and this is 200 calories of strawberries. Another tip is to stop snacking and only eat during meals. It's okay to snack on fruits and vegetables and maybe even some low-calorie diet snacks like these if you really get cravings, but most people snack on high-calorie, tasty junk food because they're bored, stressed, or thirsty, not because they're hungry. So cutting out snacks is one of the easiest things you can do since the body doesn't really need them anyway.